Welcome to Do Wilderness. This is a video on how you can make traveling with the GPS from point A to point B safer, more enjoyable, more efficient by using the same technique you use to travel with a compass in the wilderness. Now, this is my second video on this topic because the first one didn't live up to my passion that I have gained over the years for a wilderness navigation, wilderness travel. And for that, I apologize to my subscribers. I truly mean that from the heart. So let's get out there and film this video in the wilderness where it should have been filmed at in the first place. Let's go. Here we are. Finally, we are here. Now, first I want to tell people what this video is not. This is not a comprehensive compass land navigation video. That's a whole other show, man or woman. This is simply a technique video. I want to show people the technique you use to walk a fixed bearing with a compass, so you can apply it to how you walk with a GPS, and it makes it a lot simpler. Now, to walk with a compass, to learn that technique, all you need to know is a few features of the compass and how to work the compass, which is the world's simplest thing. And just understanding of just a basic concept. Now, this is a map of where I am taking off of this trail, and I have marked my location with a GPS waypoint. This straight line taking off through the woods is the fixed compass bearing I will have to remain on and use the traveling technique along this fixed bearing line until I get to the known location or destination marked with the letter B. Now, this is the GPS waypoint on the trail, my known location. Now, I'm going to be taking off here along my bearing and using the compass traveling technique. But this is just something I want people to understand, because it'll make using a compass a little more intuitive. It always helps to understand something a little bit more clearly. Just imagine, if you will, taking off along your bearing. And parallel to that, one bearing that you're taking off from your known location, to the left of that bearing, to the right of that bearing are an infinite number of bearings or straight lines that you can travel along. No matter what line I'm on, the compass is still telling me I'm walking that same bearing. The compass is still telling me I'm walking on that same bearing. There's an infinite number of parallel bearings to my main bearing that I'm taking off from my known location that I could be on. And the compass is telling me I'm spot on, but as you can see, I'm not. This is a modern day base plate compass. This is called the rotating dial. Around the outside of your rotating dial are 360 degrees. Each of these degrees is odd or even. The black tick marks represents the even degrees, and the space between the black tick marks are your odd degrees. In the center of the rotating dial sits your magnetic needle. One end of it will be painted red and always points north. The other end can be any other color except red, and it points south, which is the opposite of north. Also on this dial is your north arrow caging box, something you will be learning about soon. On the base plate, there will always be some kind of marking that signifies the top. In this case, it is a red triangle. Right here on the base plate is a mark that you set your degrees to. Now, this compass has what's called an automatic declination setting scale. If you are serious about learning how to navigate with a compass in the future, I highly suggest that the compass you buy, if you have to buy one or want to buy one, has this automatic declination scale. This is probably the greatest thing in land navigation since sliced bread. When you take off, you're going to want to cage the compass. That means you rotate your whole body and compass together. Lock your arms at your waist so your arms and the compass become one, and rotate your whole body and compass as one until that arrow is caging the needle. Now, when you take off, you're going to want to do something which I have come to call a three-point sight over the years. And this is to get your head accustomed to following this straight line bearing. I call it a three-point sight. You're going to look here, you're going to look at the north, and you're going to look at the very front of your compass. From here, you're going to look up and look for the first tree you see. Now I've set my bearing. I'm holding my compass at waist level for the 3-point sight. Okay, the north needle has been caged. I look first at the back of the compass, middle, top, and look up. And then I go to my first tree. Well, first you want to simply close your compass so nothing happens, and you walk to that first tree. Now the tree you're looking at right now is the tree I sighted. And I'm coming in to the left of it. Here I am. Now, when I get to this tree, I sight another tree along the bearing. Now, when you run into a big tree in front of you, you simply have to do this. This was where my sight when I looked up, this is what I saw. I could see nothing past this tree. So you literally have to walk to it, walk around it, look back, make sure that same tree is right behind you. And you have to take another sight. And it looks like I got a good field of vision here. Now, a GPS uses kind of the same thing, except every time you move, it figures a new fixed bearing. It calculates, it's constantly calculating a bearing to your known location or destination. So, which means every time you look down at the GPS, you can look up and walk using the compass traveling technique. So now we have our GPS. And that is the direction facing arrow. The pink line represents our bearing or our directional line. So, just like when we were using a compass, we rotate our body until that direction facing arrow is perfectly lined up on that direction of travel line. Now here's the joy of a GPS. Unlike a compass, if you get in a precarious situation, you still have to sight. And in this case, if I was using a compass, I'm in a very precarious spot. I can't see a lot, it's hard to sight. So I would be sighting that little tree directly in front of me of about 20 feet. But here's the joy of a GPS. This area over here looks like it'll be a little bit simpler to walk through the woods from. So I'm just going to move over here. And this is the idea of the variable bearing. And again, when you take off, put away the GPS and walk. And the reason why this works so well is so you don't walk through the woods looking at nothing but a GPS screen. This isn't safe. You don't get a feeling for your surroundings when you're doing that. And you can get basically in kind of a trance. I think I said before, I've seen geocachers walking through the woods and they are surrounded by these beautiful woods and they're just looking at their GPS screen and not seeing a thing. And the tree I sighted is that one directly in the center of the screen, the big one. When you practice your walking in a straight line with the compass, you're going to have to turn around and come back at some point in time. My destination here was the Love Shack. So I needed to know how to get back, and there's a concept called a back bearing, and this concept can be figured, or you can simply do this with your compass. Instead of caging the red needle, you simply turn the compass the opposite way. Then you cage the black needle. Now, if you don't want to do this and want to figure it, the rule is for the back bearing is if your degrees are greater than 180, you subtract 180. If your degrees are less than 180, you add 180. That is how you figure the back bearing, or just turn the compass around and cage the south needle. Well, I thank you for watching Do Wilderness. Get out there and practice. Remember that back bearing concept, and get out there and practice with a compass. And I guarantee walking with a GPS will be a lot more smoother, a lot more enjoyable. Don't be hypnotized by the GPS screen, folks. Use the compass traveling technique to walk with when you're using a GPS. I thank you for watching Do Wilderness. Remember, don't go crazy. Get out there into the wilderness, challenge yourself, learn new things, navigate GPS, compass, and have a good life.